Okay, example one actually is using the same problem that I just went over in the notes. But, sometimes it's good to go over the same thing twice just to make sure it sticks in your head. Unless you really think you can do that same exact problem identically again. But hey, if not, stick with me. But we'll start off by finding all the differences. So 48 minus 6 is 42. 162 minus 48. 162 minus 48 is 114. 384 minus 162 is 222. 750 minus 384 equals 366. 366. 1296 minus 750 is 546. So that's the first difference. So the first difference is not the same, therefore it's not linear. Let's do the second difference. 114 minus 42, 72. 222 minus 114 is 108. 108. 366 minus 22, 144. That's an 8, by the way. And then 546 minus 366 equals 180. So the second difference is not the same, therefore it's not quadratic. Let's see if it's cubic. 108 minus 72, which we should already know that these are all 144 minus 108 is 36. 180 minus 144 is 36. So there's our table again. Okay? So we need to find, remember your base equation is y equals ax to the third power plus bx squared plus cx plus d. We have 4 variables to find. Alright, so let's start with a. We'll just reiterate that is your third difference, but this time we're dividing it by 6. Okay, so third difference divided by 6, so the 36, or you can think of it as the constant difference. Whichever one's the same one, that's the third one. We're going to divide it by 6. So your a value is 6. Your b value, that's probably the most complicated one to think about. But your b value is your very first second difference. So I'll write it as the first second difference. Alright. Then we're going to subtract the third difference. And then we're going to divide the whole thing by 2. So it's the very first difference, very first second difference, minus the third difference divided by 2. Is that right? Alright, and we don't currently have that first second difference yet. So what we need to do is we need to go over here and build it. Remember, we don't have our very first step yet. So we got a 1 and 6. We need to go to the 0. So to find that difference, we need to find this difference to find that one. And then we got to find this one. So we start off with 36. 72 minus 36 is 36. 42 minus, what did I just do? 72 minus 36, yep. 42 minus 36 is 6. And 6 minus that 6 is 0. Okay, so this is our first second difference, and this is our very first difference. Okay, and then we got the third one all the way to the right. So for your b value, it is the first second difference, which we had to calculate. That was the 36 in green over there, minus the third difference, which is again is 36, divided by 2. Which is 0 divided by 2, which is simply 0. So the b value is still 0. Your c value is your very first, minus a and minus b. So our very first, we highlighted in purple. Your very first is 6. Minus your a value, which is 6, minus your b value, which is 0. 6 minus 6 minus 0 is 0. And then last but not least, d is your starting point, which equals 0. Okay? So y equals 6x to the third power plus 0x squared plus 0x plus 0. So we don't need to write any of those. All we needed to write was the a. Okay. Go ahead and pause the recording and give you try it number 1 a chance. See how you do. All right. So this is you try it number 1. I'm just going to burn through this real quick. Start off by finding all my differences. So 16 minus 2 is 14. 54 minus 16 is, you know what, I'm going to use a calculator just to do the whole thing. Just give me a second. Alright, so those are my first differences. Let's go in, find the second differences. 38 minus 14. 38 minus 14 is 24. Then I'm going to pause, fill in the rest. You go ahead and fill in the rest real quick. And those are your second differences. So we know it's not linear, we know it's not quadratic, so we're going to go ahead and find the third difference right quick. So 36 minus 24 is 12. 48 minus 36, that's also 12. 60 minus 40, that's also 12. Good. So the third difference is the same. Therefore, it's cubic. So the other thing that we need to find is we don't have our starting point. So let's back up to 1. Let's back up to the 0, I mean. So we got to back up the outside, back up that one, we need to back up that one. So 12. 24 minus 12 is 12. 14 minus 12 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, I just backed up those numbers. So that's my starting point. So the d value is 0. So here we go. Let's run it through the paces. A equals the third difference divided by 6, which in this case that's 12, divided by 6, which is 2. Third difference divided by 2. That's 62. B is, that's the complicated one. It's the first second difference minus the third difference divided by 2. So in this case, it's the first second difference is 12. It is that one right there. That's your first second, and this is your first, your very first. So we're going to do, so that equals 12 minus your third difference, which that's also 12, divided by 2. So that's 0 divided by 2. So the b value is 0. Your c value, that's your very first, minus a minus b. So in this case, again, your very first is 2, minus your a value, which we found earlier was 2, minus your b value, which is 0. So that also equals 0. And your d is your start. All right. So hopefully you wrote the equation out, y equals 2x to the third power. Didn't write anything else out because the rest of them are 0. We found our A, our B, our C, and our D. Cool? And there you are.